shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through? For you, for you, for you, for into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through? For you, for you, for you. Like a Hellcat.
Testing, testing, we on? Testing, testing, we on? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are here for the 6th round of the Porsche Super Cup here on ACC on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. We're at Imola for this one here. First time we raced Imola in the Porsche Super Cup, I believe, here at Motive, and we're 3 seasons into this series, so it's about time that we took these cars around such a legendary Italian circuit as this. Imola, as everybody knows, has hosted the Formula 1 Grand Prix, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix for the last couple of years, and always serves up some of the most exciting action. We've hosted many races in the GT4s here at Motive at Imola, and we've also done a couple of multi-class events here as well, but this is the first time we've taken the Porsche Cup cars around here, and we've got 14 cars on the grid at the moment. 7 minutes left of this qualifying session. We've just started the session just a few moments ago. Some of you may have joined us for the practice session that was on a little while ago. We had some absolutely banging tunes on for that, but now you've got my dulcet tones to keep you company rather than that, so I don't know, that might cause some people to tune off, but anyway, we're here for what is sure to be a pretty exciting night. We've got everybody out on the track barring Lightblade and Evan, so everybody else seems to be out on the track at this point, so those guys just maybe making the final adjustments. Evan jumping in pretty late in the day here for this session, driving a livery which looks very much like the Irish flag there, so that's pretty eye-catching there. Nice art there, nice artwork there from Evan for sure. But as we see Will Friedman, the championship leader and reigning Porsche Super Cup champion, going very wide there on the exit of the chicane. That's not the line that you want to be taking through there, Will, as I'm sure he knows. But Will Friedman, obviously one of our admin standings man here at Motive, does all of our ACC standings and does a great job behind the scenes and on the track as well. But he's just taking a little bit of time to warm those tyres up by the looks of it. We've got Cinderella Tour here coming over the start-finish line to start his first flying lap of the session. He's got Ryan Ruby in tow. Ryan looks pretty close to the back of him here as they're coming up towards the first corner, as we see Cinderella Tour really taking the curbs there on the inside of turn 1 and 2. But yeah, at the moment looks like Ryan's trying to get a bit of a slipstream off of him if he can. Let's follow these two. No, in fact Cinderella Tour's pulling over, so he's letting Ryan Ruby go through. Hegemars currently sets the fastest time of the session at 1 minute 47.3. We saw the fastest time in the practice session was 1:45.3, I think, from Lightblade. Could be wrong there, but I believe that it was a low 1:45 from Lightblade. Didi's just done a 1:46 dead, so that's a solid time there from Didi TKU. But the time's going to be coming in thick and fast. They've only got 10 minutes altogether to get these laps in. Once you've done an out lap and you've got the tyres up to temperature, you don't really have much time to go and put a lap in. So it's really about getting them in the optimal range as quickly as you can and delivering the goods. You've got maybe 2 or 3, maximum 3 attempts with your tyres at the optimal range in order to get a lap in. So if you mess up the first attempt, it really does put you on a little bit of a knife's edge for the rest of the session. You need to kind of get that banker in, and then after that you can really throw caution to the wind and push. But at this point in the session, it's looking like Didi currently on provisional pole. He's got a second back to Hegemars at the moment. Stones Racing has done a time good enough for 3rd place there. He's currently 5 seconds off for the top spot at the moment. You got Will Friedman just coming down the hill towards the final hairpin. Let's keep an eye on Will here and see what he does on his first flying lap of the session, driving in his customary number 8 Porsche Super Cup champion, as we've said, also one of our admins here at Motive, and he's just coming in towards the final corner now, out onto the start finish straight. Will's coming up towards the line. Can he continue on with the form that he's been on over the course of this season? Will, obviously, I think he did actually, it was Will that set the fastest time in the practice session, not Lightblade. It was Will that went faster at the end of the session, and he just does the fastest lap of the whole event there so far. Will Friedman does a 1:45 dead, almost into the 1:44s, just less than a tenth of a second off of the 1:44s. Will's on it at the moment, but oh no, Ryan's lost it coming on the exit of turn 2. Ryan Ruby there getting out of, no, was that Ryan Ruby? I think it was Ryan Ruby. He's retired to the pits straight away afterwards, but I'm pretty sure that was Ryan. So Will there, unfortunately for him, not able to set another following lap there. He'll be a bit frustrated with that, but Ryan just lost it in front of him. Nothing Ryan could do, nothing that Will could do. Just an unfortunate racing incident there between those two, or qualifying incident should I say. But Didi coming over the line can't improve. Somebody just coming over the line behind him. There's Hegemars coming in towards the hairpin. Exeron's just come over the line to has not done an improved lap time there. Stays in P4 for the time being. Stone's currently in 5th place at the moment. We've just seen Luke leaving the pits. Cinderella Tour, Ryan Ruby, Luke, Lightblade, Martin, Dwayne Bop making his return to the track tonight. Dujo Senor, that's what we're going to call him tonight. Dujo Senor, currently in the 11th spot in this session at the moment, still yet to do a lap time. Formerly Dwayne Bop, some of you will remember he used to race in the GTEs on Project Cars 2 on a Monday night way back in the day here at Motive, literally way back, like I'm talking like at least a year since we've had those days. But yeah, he's making his return to the track tonight. Did briefly take part in the Porsche Super Cup on a Monday night here at Motive as well on ACC back when we started the Cup. So he is a man who's got plenty of experience here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. Did win a couple of races in the Porsche Cup. Also, when he used to compete, he was pretty high up in one of the seasons. I think he came third in the championship to the Oni G and Cinderella Tour. I believe it was those two that finished above him. He came third in the championship, I believe. So he's got credentials, he's got talent, he's plenty of pace and plenty in his arsenal. We'll be able to see whether or not he can pull that out of the bag tonight here in his first appearance for goodness knows how long. But right now Will Freeman's still setting the pace and he's sat in the pits, so he clearly thinks that he's done enough here. He's not going to get out in time to do another lap at the end of this session. So we've got Didi in second. Hegemar's only a tenth of a second off of Didi at the moment, sat in P3 in this session. We've got Cinderella Tour running in fourth place at the moment, 1.3 off, 3/10 off of Didi and Hegemar's. Then obviously Dwayne currently sat in fifth place. We've got Exeron in sixth, as somebody's just coming around to round him there on a flying lap by the looks of it. Exeron there just oh no, Exeron's lost it coming through Villeneuve chicane, so that's put it into the wall there. Unfortunate there for Exeron. That was probably his hopes of improving his lap time done and dusted in that session. As we see Stones Racing coming over the line and can't improve on that latest lap of his there. Ryan Ruby coming through the middle sector at the moment. Let's see if he's up on his time. He goes a little bit wide there, doesn't he? That would definitely have compromised him a little bit. I don't know whether he's far enough around the lap to start another one after this. I reckon it's going to be nip and tuck. I think he might be a little bit too far away from the end of the lap to get another lap in. I think that's maybe put a nail in his chances of moving up the order here and actually getting a clean lap in this session. Lightblade is on a lap. We'll keep an eye on him as his progress develops throughout the course of this session. We've got Martin currently just coming through Aquaminerale right now. Tribe Racing is coming up towards the top of the hill. You got Raki and Evan both sat in the pits, so it doesn't look like they're going to be getting a lap in here in this session. They're going to have to start this one from the back of the grid. That's going to be a bit of a task for them. Be interesting to see how that goes. So yeah, looking like Will Freeman's going to be starting this one on pole for the time being, unless Lightblade can pull something out of the bag here in the final chicane. Looks like he nails it pretty nicely there, just about keeping it within track limits, keeping a bit of those wheels on the curb at all times, down towards the final hairpin now. What's Lightblade got up his sleeve here? Has he got anything to try and challenge the Porsche Super Cup champion, the multiple race winner this season, Will Freeman, who's currently on provisional pole by over a second to DDTKU? Out of the last corner, Lightblade comes, foot to the floor, onto the start-finish straight. Can he get it on the front row? Can he get it ahead of Will Freeman here? Up towards the line he comes. Lightblade jumped in as a reserve last week at Paul Ricard, did an excellent job, but got a drive-through penalty during the race. But he just misses out on the front row there by 200ths of a second. So he's going to line up on the second row behind his Team Run DJC teammate DDTKU and alongside Cinderella Tour. Those guys are going to be in third and fourth. Will Freeman and DDTKU, they're going to head up the field though on the front row. Lightblade and Cinderella Tour, as we said, on the second row. Hegemars and Dujo Senor in fifth and sixth. Hegemars is on the final lap here. Let's see if he can improve his time as he's coming up towards the line. Can he go a little bit quicker here and maybe get himself on those front two rows? No, he can't. Stays in fifth. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen, for the qualifying session. Will Freeman lining up on pole position as per for him, but Didi alongside him on the front row. Lightblade not able to replicate the form that we saw in practice in third, with Cinderella Tour fourth. Stay tuned for the race coming up very shortly, guys. The sprint race, the first race of the evening. We're going to go to a very, very short break, and we'll have that on in a few moments' time.
Sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight, what a time to be alive. Just you and I.
Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, we're moments away from the start of the sprint race for the Porsche Supercup Round 6 here at Imola for Motive Racing here on ACC on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. Just coming out of the final corner now. Will Friedman was starting this one on pole position, DDTKU alongside him. Lightblade's pace looked pretty good in the practice session before the qualifying, but didn't quite have it in the in this qualifying session. He'll be looking to try and challenge Will over the course of this race. Cinderella Tour behind them on the second row alongside Lightblade, Hegemars and Dujo Senor in 5th and 6th. Exteron, Luke van der Street, Stones Racing, Tribe Racing completing the top 10. We got Martin in 11th with Ryan Ruby, Raki and Evan at the back. Here we are then up towards the line to start race 11 of the season, round 6 here at Imola. Once Will Friedman, the number 8 on the right hand side, crosses that line, it'll be green, green, green. Then here we go, we are racing, we're underway for the sprint race, and looks like Didi got a slightly shaky start. Lightblade has definitely jumped him up towards turn 1. Somebody's already in the wall towards the back of the field. Ryan Ruby's on the grass, and oh my goodness, no, it wasn't Ryan, in fact it was Raki there. Might have been Raki or it was Ryan, I don't know, but it looks like there's been a big to do already here in this race. Tribe Racing looked like he was in the wars a little bit there. Somebody's gone off towards the right hand side there. I don't know if that was Luke. It looks like it was similar livery to Luke. It wasn't Luke, but somebody's been off and into the barriers there. And oh, Luke van der Street's got a bit of contact there. I think that was with Ryan there. Those two coming together a little bit. Will still leads ahead of Lightblade, 6 tenths between those two. Didi has dropped down to 5th there. No, has he? No. Didi is still in 3rd place, but Hegemars was showing up as the leader for a second there. So it's Will from Lightblade, from Didi, from Tribe Racing, and Cinderella Tour side by side. And Cinderella Tour tries to close the door. Oh no! And there's a bit of a collision there. Cinderella Tour definitely a bit aggressive there as he tried to turn into the corner. Tribe was still there, still on the inside, and Dujo Senor tried to make the move around the outside here of Tribe. Can he get it done? He's going to try and swoop all the way around him there and manages to pull off the move. Brilliant move there from Dujo Senor ahead of Tribe Racing. Ryan Ruby there in 7th place. Raki Exteron Stones Racing. Luke van der Street's down to 11th place at the start of this race with Evan, Martin and Hegemars has dropped way off the back of the field down to P14 on this opening lap. Not the start to the race that he would have wanted by any stretch of the imagination. But it's Will currently leading out the front, 8 tenths of a second is his gap over Lightblade right now. Lightblade's still keeping to the back of him, still giving him something to worry about over the course of this race. Didi trying to stick to these guys if he can. Dujo though is onto the back of Cinderella Tour right now. Tribe Racing in the background there, trying to stay in the slipstream of Dujo Senor as they're coming up towards the line. Down the start finish straight they come. Ryan Ruby, Raki, Exteron there in 9th place. Bit of a gap back to these two, Stones Racing and Luke van der Street. Evan there in 12th place at this point. Martin and Hegemars after a very turbulent opening lap way down the field. It was Martin who we saw hitting the wall coming through turn 3 on the as they were all filing through the first few corners on the opening lap. But Will has a lead of just over a second here to Lightblade. He's crucially broken that 1 second gap. Didi running in 3rd. Cinderella Tour has got a pack of cars behind him here. In fact, Dujo Senor's dropped way back here. He's dropped off of that pack. I don't know what's happened to Dujo, but he's now down 9th place here in this race. Tribe, Ryan Ruby, Cinderella Tour running in a pack of cars. Oh no, Raki's lost it. Raki gets a bit sideways there, and that's going to allow Exteron to swoop up the inside, and it's Dujo Senor going to be able to try and get him as well. Dujo obviously had a bit of a moment on the previous lap which dropped him down from 5th down to 9th place. He's now trying to make places back up here, but as Exteron looking to the inside of Raki here, looks like those two are still going at it here in this battle for P7. Raki's now getting passed by cars left, right and centre there. Dujo's ahead of Raki. Luke's trying to get ahead of Raki as well now onto the back of these drivers here. But so much going on here in this opening couple of laps. Will leads by 8 tenths ahead of Lightblade. Lightblade's still giving him some here. Didi, Tribe Racing is running in just on the inside there of Exteron by the looks of it, as Cinderella Tour as he dropped back a little bit down that pack. Well, Tribe Racing has cleared this pack a little bit. He's got 1.4 back to Cinderella Tour. Exteron has got Ryan Ruby all over him here, coming down the hill, down towards the hairpin. Dujo and Raki in hot pursuit here with Luke on the back of these guys. What's going to happen here is Exteron, again the camera that's not really giving us much of a clue as to what is going on here, but here they come onto the start finish straight, and currently it looks like Ryan is just trying to keep in that slipstream at the moment. Dujo, Raki, Luke van der Street all very close on the back of these drivers right now. Stones and Evans just a little bit off of them in 11th and 12th places. Those two have kind of just dropped off of the pack a little bit over the course of these first couple of laps. Will leads ahead of Lightblade by just half a second as they're coming in towards turn 1. Didi there in 3rd. Tribe just a little bit in a little bit off with those guys in 4th place. Cinderella Tour trying to find a way around him if he can. 3/10 between those two. Then there's this big pack of cars, which is now led by Ryan Ruby. Exeron there just behind him. Dujo, Raki, Luke. All of these drivers in such close contention right now on the 3rd lap of this race. As we see Cinderella Tour getting all over the grass there. Oh my goodness me. How has he held on to that? That was a brilliant save there from Cinderella Tour. That was so close to tears there for him as he came out of the hairpin. Just about keeps it under control. But that was inches away from disaster as he manages to keep it onto the grey stuff. Ryan still running in P6. He's still got that train of cars behind him. Exeron, Dujo, Raki, Luke and Evan. Evan now closing on to the back of these drivers a little bit. He's now shaking off Stones. Stones has dropped well off here. I don't know what's happened to Stones, but he's now nowhere to be seen. Stones has completely lost it there. He's now binned it there onto the grass, and he's dropped down to P14 here in this race. Oh, that's really not gone to plan at all there for him. That has gone horribly wrong there for Stones. Ryan is still running in 6th place right now. He's got just under a second to Exeron. Dujo running in 8th place. There's Raki looking to try and defend from Luke van der Streets, but Luke van der Streets is down the inside into the hairpin. I think Luke's going to have that done. Camera is absolutely shocking through that corner. That is atrocious. But yeah, he is ahead of him anyway. So Luke van der Streets has made that move on Raki. The timing screen still hasn't decided to tell us that yet, but he has definitely made the move on him. You can quite clearly see with your own eyes. But now Raki's looking to try and make the move back on him here. Down the start finish straight they come. Is he going to be able to have the legs looking to the inside, coming down towards turn 1? He's going to put out that slipstream now in towards the braking zone they come. Can Raki go with immediate reply here on Luke van der Streets? He's going to try. Oh, it's Luke gets a little bit sideways there onto the curb, but coming on the exit of turn 2, he's onto the gravel there. Raki moves up into P10, and that has gone horribly wrong there for Luke van der Streets. Crawls over the gravel there. I think he's down to P11 there in that little exchange. Or has he still come out ahead of Evan? I'm not 100%. Yeah, Evan must have made a couple of mistakes, because he's nowhere right now. He's still running in P11. He's quite a little way off of this pack here, this pack of cars. But Tribe has managed to gap Cinderella Tour a little bit. He's now a second clear of Cinderella Tour. Ryan Ruby running 2 seconds off of the back of him. Of Cinderella Tour in 6th place. He's managed to shake off Exeron a little bit. Dujo Senor still running on the back of Exeron right now, but Raki off that little mistake on the previous lap, now running down in P9. He's got a bit of a gap back to Luke, who made that mistake coming through turn 2 on this lap. Evan now trying to reel in Luke if he can. Hegemar's not too far off the back of Evan either, as we got Martin and Stones in 13th and 14th place here in this race. But looks as though Dujo Senor has dropped off at the back of Exeron a little bit. In fact, he's now behind Raki, so Raki's now ahead of Dujo Senor. Again, the timing screens hasn't helped us out in any way, shape or form, even slightly there, but I've just worked that out just by looking at it. So Raki's got ahead of Dujo Senor up into 8th place, even though the timing screen says that it's the other way around. But yeah, currently Tribe Racing on the back of Cinderella Tour. Look at this, they're side by side here, coming down towards turn 1. Can Tribe Racing get us moving? Oh no, Cinderella Tour snaps into the barriers there. Bit of contact as they came into the corner. Didn't look like that much, but he goes spearing off into the barriers there. Cinderella Tour's got severe damage on the front of that car, and he's going to be overtaken by Raki. That's like Dujo's going to follow him through as well. Luke van der Streets will be coming up on the scene. Cinderella Tour pits. He's out of the race here. 8 minutes into this sprint race. That is such a shame there for Cinderella Tour. He had severe damage on that car due to that contact there with Tribe, and Tribe was trying to hold the move on Cinderella Tour. Cinderella Tour had really made gains on him on that lap, but it looked like Tribe just moved a little bit across into the braking zone. I didn't look like much contact, I've got to say. It looked very minimal, but Cinderella Tour just lost control of the car and it went spearing into the barriers. And Tribe ultimately up into 4th place here. Well, he was already in 4th, but he manages to hold on to 4th as a result of that. So he's still currently running in P4 at this point. Raki just running half a second off of Ryan at this point. He's got a further 7/10 back to Dujo Senor at the moment as they're coming down towards the chicane. But right now Will leads the race by over 2 seconds to Lightblade as they're coming over the line to complete lap 5 of the race. Sorry about that, guys, just had to quickly take a call there, but still out in front leading this race is Will Friedman. He's got 3 seconds to Lightblade. He's continuing to pull out that gap at the moment. Looks like Will is in cruise control here in this race. Lightblade running in second place. Didi, your man, in the final podium spot at the moment. He's got a further 4 seconds back to Tribe Racing. As we can see, Cinderella Tour is emerging from the pits after that damage. Oh no, he's just... What? What's going on? I mean, Tribe has just crashed into the wall. Or was it Ryan? It was Ryan. I don't know what's going on there with Cinderella Tour. Lightblade's got the gap down now to 3 seconds there to Will Friedman. So Lightblade's bringing that gap down a little bit. In fact, it's now 2.4, so he gained half a second on that previous lap. He was flying there that last time around. I don't know what happened there with Cinderella Tour, I've got to say. But right now Will leads the race by 2.5 seconds to Lightblade. These guys now well ahead of DDTKU at this point. Raki is running in P6. He's got 2 seconds back to Dujo Senor at the moment. So those two currently not separated by very much. Dujo has actually gained quite a bit on this lap so far. The gap's now a lot less than 1.9. 4/10 of a second it says on our timing screen now. So Dujo's really brought that gap down over the course of this lap. Ryan though in the pits after that collision there we saw with Cinderella Tour as he came out of the pits. Don't know what was going on there, I really don't. But he seemed like he just veered across the track straight away after he left the pits and ended up in the barriers, and it's a very, very strange incident, that I've got to say. But right now Dujo running 4/10 behind Reki at this point. Will Friedman leads the way. 2.6 is his gap right now over Lightblade. Didi still running in 3rd place, but he's a long way off on the front too. Tribe Racing running in 4th place. Had that little incident with Cinderella Tour a few laps ago coming up towards turn 1. A similar incident to the Russell Bottas incident in the Formula 1 earlier this season. And ultimately it was Tribe Racing got away with very, very minor damage, but Cinderella Tour ended up in the wall and had to undergo a couple damage that actually set him back a couple of laps. So Tribe Racing has got away pretty pretty lightly in that one. Exteron running in 5th place at this point. He's 5 seconds behind Tribe Racing at the moment. Raki's just coming in towards turn 1, so he's 5 seconds behind Exteron. Dujo running a second and a half behind Raki at this point. Further 5 seconds back to Luke van der Streets. He's got 2 seconds back to Hedgemars, who looks like he's starting to reel him in a little bit. Evan 2 seconds off of the back of these guys in 10th place. Stones Racing in 11th. There's Martin running in 12th place right now. Ryan in the pits after that horror show as Cinderella Tour came out of the pits. Still not sure really what happened there, but 6 minutes left to go in this race. Cinderella Tour's off and going, and looks like he's reasonably comfortable out there. The car doesn't look like he's got too much damage, so he should be able to extract the best performance out of that at this point in the race. But Will leads by just over 2 seconds to Lightblade at this point. Raki's gap to Dujo Senor currently 0.8 of a second as these two currently look like they're pretty much joined at the hip right now. Dujo Senor wants to try and put the pressure on Raki in the final closing stages of this sprint race. Will's gap to Lightblade staying at around 2.5 seconds. Lightblade's matching him, but just cannot seem to fully take the fight to him at this point. Be interesting to see if he can eke that little bit extra out of the car. Lightblade has said to me in the past that he likes the Porsche Cup cars. They're his favourite cars here on ACC, and he really does seem to excel in these every time he takes part in races with them. But currently 2.5 seconds between Will and Lightblade at the moment, so I think Will's got that buffer, he's got that gap, he's got what he needs to win this race. Just needs to keep it together and stay consistent throughout the course of this one, and he should be able to take home top honours once again here in the Porsche Cup this season. The reigning champion of the Porsche Super Cup looking like he's going to be able to bring it home for another win. Didi still running in third place. Tribe racing a further 3.5 seconds back in fourth place. Exeron in fifth place. There's Raki running in sixth. He's just under 3 seconds behind Exeron at this point. Dujo has dropped off the back of Raki a little bit, just over a second between those two now. So Dujo looks like he's now starting to drop off the pace ever so slightly. Luke in 8th place. Hegemar's running in 9th. He's just over a second behind Luke at this point. Evan being dragged along with Hegemar's here, so this could get pretty tasty in this fight for 8th place. Luke, Hegemar's and Evan all pretty close to each other on the track. None of these guys have really had the smoothest of races. Hegemar's had a bit of a turbulent start. Luke and Evan have both had their fair share of skirmishes over the course of this one. Martin is in the pits, so he's obviously got damage on the car. No mandatory pit stop for the Porsche Cup, so that's going to really set him back quite a bit. Will's gap to Lightblade now just over 3 seconds, so Will has definitely done the work on that lap. He gained about 6/10 on Lightblade on just that lap alone. Hegemar's within a second of Luke van der Streets as they're coming in towards the final sector now. Will Freeman is on what I think is going to be his third to last lap of the race, so we've got 2.5 laps left to go here in the sprint race for round 6 of Motive Racing's Porsche Super Cup here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. Will looks like he's going to be set to take another sprint race win. He does like the sprint races, but he often elects to start the feature races from the back, so that will be an interesting one if he decides to do that again. Into turn 1, Hegemar's still on the back of Luke van der Streets. These two 8th and 9th. Evan just off the back of these guys, running in 10th place. He's just over a second behind Hegemar's, so he'll be there hoping to feast on these scraps if these two do start tripping over each other in any way, shape or form. Gap between Will and Lightblade at the front, just over 3 seconds at this point. Luke's still keeping ahead of Hegemar's at the moment. Evan's just poised, waiting to throw a knockout blow to either of those two. Martin looks like he's stuck in the pits. He's not going anywhere fast. Maybe he's retiring the car. Maybe he's had enough here in this sprint race. Gap at the front between Will and Lightblade still just over 3 seconds, so Will's got enough to bring this one home. Just needs to keep doing exactly what he's doing at the moment, and he'll be able to bring home another win here in that number 8 black Porsche. What a great drive it's been so far this season from Will Freeman. Didi's gap to Tribe, only 2 seconds, so Tribe's bringing it down a little bit. Question is, has he left it too late though? That gap's now I think under 2 seconds as well, because I just saw them coming through the last corner. It looks like he's just carved a little bit more of that gap down here as Tribe Racing as they're coming up towards the line to complete their 10th lap of the race. They got a bit of a gap back to Exeron running in 5th place. Raki 3.5 seconds behind them is keeping the gap to Dujo Senor at this point, now just over a second, staying at around a second and a half between those two. Luke van der Streets, Hegemar's separated by 0.4 of a second. In fact, Hegemar's has dropped off the back, and now Evans on the back of Luke van der Streets. So that is Hegemar's must have made a mistake coming out of the final hairpin there. Evan is now up into 9th place ahead of him and can now have a crack here at Luke van der Streets with 2 laps left to go here in this race. Hegemar's making a little mistake. Question is, can he bring himself back onto those two? Not what Hegemar's would have wanted at all. He looked like he was well poised to try and take that 8th place away from Luke van der Streets. Gap at the front between Will and Lightblade staying the same, 3.2. These two matching each other's every lap at the moment, but currently Will with the ascendancy with track position. He's got a lap and a bit left to go to bring this one home and take the win here at Imola tonight. Evan within a tenth of a second of Luke at the previous checkpoint. Still hasn't found a way around him. In fact, now Evan's dropped back behind Hedgemars, so Evan must have made a mistake in the first sector there. He's now back down to 10th place here in this race. Timing board still hasn't updated, but Evan now in 10th. Hedgemars is up into 9th place there, but he looks like he's a little bit off the back of Luke van der Streets. Luke is probably on to take an 8th place here in this race. He's going to hold off the challenge of both of these two. They've both given him quite a good little fight over the course of these last few laps, but Luke looks like he's going to weather the storm and bring it home in 8th place. Dujo's got the gap down to just 1.2 with Raki. He gained a couple of tenths in that last lap, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get himself into 6th place here in this race. Tribe has dropped off of Didi. Looks like the gap's now 4.5 seconds. Tribe must have made a mistake. That's going to be giving Didi a chance to just breathe a sigh of relief and bring it home for that final podium spot. Will is on the final lap of the race at the moment though. He's got almost 4 seconds now over Lightblade. Lightblade's dropped off of Will's pace ever so slightly on that last lap, and I think Will has now got enough to just cruise it home and bring it over the line. Hedgemars has got a gap of 9 tenths back to Evan. He's in a sandwich in between Luke and Evan at the moment as they are coming in towards the final hairpin right now, but I think maybe... But hold on. Hedgemars is now well off the back of Luke and Evan. He's now dropped into the clutches of Stones. What's happened there to Hedgemars? I really don't know what's happened to him there, but he's now dropped well off of them. I was just relying on the timing screen there, actually telling me the truth, but that doesn't happen. That's not actually a thing. But yeah, currently Luke and Evan separated by 1.6, so Luke should be pretty much set to finish this one in 8th place. Will Friedman, though, the race leader's coming in towards the final few corners here at Imola, and it's going to be another win in the Porsche Super Cup here for Will Friedman. What a job he's done. He's just been consistent as anything out the front. The practice sessions looked pretty tight between Will and Lightblade, but the qualifying was all Will Friedman. Lightblade wasn't able to set his true potential from the practice session in the qualifying. It was Will Friedman's to lose over the course of this one. He got away at the start. He has dominated this race. Lightblade started to match him towards the end, but Will Friedman comes over to take the checkered flag and take the win. Lightblade comes over in 2nd place. Gave him a really strong battle in the end in terms of the pace. He seemed like he was on the pace of Will, but unfortunately left it a little bit late to really get into a rhythm. DDTKU is coming out on the final corner, and it's going to be a podium place here for the man in the number 36 blue and white Porsche. Up towards the line he comes. He manages to hold off Tribe Racing. Tribe was a little bit quicker towards the end, but Didi had the legs and finishes in 3rd place. Tribe comes over in 4th despite that collision with Cinderella Tour earlier on in the race. Exeron comes over to take a 5th spot here in this one. Raki is going to finish this one on 6th, just holds off Dujo Senor there. Great little battle between those two. Luke van der Streets is going to finish this one in 8th place, holds off Evan there in what was a good little charge from Evan on that last lap, but Luke 8th, Evan 9th. Hedgemars is going to come around to take 10th place after dropping off of that fight in the last couple of laps. So Hedgemars here is going to come over to take P10 in this one. Stone's a long way behind Hedgemars in 11th place. He'll be crossing the line shortly. Ryan finished the race in 12th place, a lap down. Cinderella Tour 13th. Martin's coming up towards the line. It was Martin who I thought was Stones earlier, same livery, but Martin was the one who was near Hedgemars a couple of laps ago. That was actually Martin, not Stones. I said it was Stones at the time, it was actually Martin, but Stones is coming out of the last corner now, and he's going to be the last to finish this sprint race in 11th place as he comes up towards the line. So that is that then for the sprint race, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for the feature race qualifying session. We'll be back on in about 5 minutes or so for that one. Well done to Will, Lightblade and Didi on the podium places. Great racing throughout the field, especially with Raki, Dujo, and obviously Luke, Evan and Hedgemars as well. Be sure to drop a like on the video, guys, if you do enjoy the action that you're watching out on track right now. Subscribe to the Motive Racing channel, and we will be back very, very shortly.
sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again, so we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. All I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again, so we can fly again. Sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again, so we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 I've been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 We can fly again. I get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing channel. We're here for the feature race qualifying session. Minute and a half left to go here in this one, and looks like Lightblade's currently sat on provisional pole position, looking to try and avenge his defeat to Will Friedman in the sprint race. Evan setting some blistering pace here in this session, much quicker in this one than he was in the previous session, so Evan's clearly found some pace somewhere out there as he's coming up towards the line. Let's see what Evan can put on the board here as he crosses over the line now, and he stays in P2 for the time being, but he's really taking the battle to Lightblade here in this session. Will Friedman, we've seen him do it many times in the past, quite often elects not to qualify for the feature races, so he's going to try and come back through the pack and dice it out with some of the drivers towards the back, but there's a few drivers who are choosing not to qualify here. Luke van der Streets still sat in the pits, also Hedgemars. The question is, are Martin Exeron and Tribe Racing going to be able to get laps in order to start ahead of Will, or are they going to end up starting behind him anyway? But here we are coming towards the closing stages of the second qualifying session. Lightblade, your man on provisional pole position as he's coming out of the final corner now. Let's see if Lightblade can go a little bit quicker here and try and rub salt in the wounds. He's coming up towards the line now. 10 seconds left on the clock. He'll be able to get another lap in after this one as well. But over the line he comes. Doesn't improve on his provisional pole time there, but obviously will still be in P1 for the time being. Evans pitted, so he's not going to get pole here. He's not going to find those 2 tenths that he needs to go on to the top spot. We've got Raki sat in 3rd place. He's in the pits as well. Cinderella Tour, as it looks like he's given up there. He's onto the gravel. Dujo Senor's in the pits. Ryan Ruby is just coming down towards the final chicane now. Didi in P7 at the moment, 1.4 off the pace. Let's see what he can put on the board here as he's coming up towards the line. Can Didi get himself in the thick of it here in this qualifying session? Over the line he comes now, and he goes up to P3 there. Lovely lap from Didi. TKU right at the end pushes Raki, Cinderella Tour and Dujo down positions, and is not too far from Evan either. Only 4 tenths off of the pole time. Lovely lap there from Didi, as the track seems to get sufficiently rubbered in once it gets to the feature race qualifying session, so you see the times plunging on what they were in the sprint race qualifying. But here we see Tribe coming out of the final corner. What can Tribe Racing put on the board here? He's currently 8th place, 1.5 seconds off for the top time. Up towards the line he comes in the number 91. Let's see what Tribe can do here, running in the same livery as his teammate Ryan Ruby. Here he comes over the line, can't improve, stays in P8. Well, he does improve actually, very slightly, by about half a tenth, but stays in 8th place. So that looks like it's going to be that then for the session. So it's going to be Lightblade on pole position by 2 tenths ahead of Evan. DDTKU in 3rd. Raki lining up in 4th on the second row alongside Didi, with Cinderella Tour and Dujo 5th and 6th. Ryan Ruby, Tribe Racing, Stones and Martin on 9th and 10th places. Then we're going to have Will Friedman, Luke van der Streets, Exeron and Hedgemars at the backfill with this one. Drop a like on the video, guys, if you enjoy the action here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. If you want to get involved, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com as well. We're going to go to a very, very short break before we get going for the feature race, in which the Lightblade will be starting this one on pole, with the reigning champion and championship leader Will Friedman starting this one from towards the back. It's going to be an exciting one. Stay tuned.
for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you. Put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground. So we can fly again. So we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I.
Here we go then, guys, moments away from the start of the feature race. Lightblade will be starting this one from pole position, having brought home P2 behind Will Friedman in the sprint race. It's going to be Didi lining up on the second row with Raki alongside him. We're going to have Cinderella Tour and Dujo Senor in 5th and 6th. Ryan Ruby in 7th with Luke van der Streets alongside him on the 4th row. Tribe Racing and Stones Racing completing the top 10. Then it's going to be Martin, Will, Exteron and Hedgemars rounding out the field for this one. We're in for an absolute treat here, ladies and gentlemen. Drop a like on the video before we get underway. Show your appreciation for the drivers who are about to put their skills to the test around one of the more challenging circuits here in motor racing, in one of the trickiest cars that you can drive here, these Porsche Cup cars. Up towards the line they come. When Lightblade comes up towards that line, it's going to be officially green, 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 and we'll be underway for the final race of the evening. A 40-minute race, no mandatory pit stops, straight out sprint. It's a long time to be going constantly at it. You're pretty much flat out the whole way in these Porsche Cup cars. As here we go, it is green. We are now racing. Lightblade looks like he gets a decent start. He's got Evan looking to his outside here up towards turn 1, but Evan tucks in for that slipstream and ends up going single file into turn 1. Raki's got ahead of Didi up into 3rd. Oh no, we've got that glitch again where it pings me to the top screen every single time I click on another driver. Oh no. I really want to take my anger out on something, but I can't, so I'm going to have to get on with it. So Lightblade leads ahead of Evan at the moment. Raki there in 3rd. We've got DDTKU just behind. Cinderella Tour running in 5th place at the moment. There's Dujo Senor in 6th. Ryan, Will Friedman already up into 8th place. Good first couple of corners. Oh, somebody's lost it in the background there. Somebody's off. Oh, who's that? That's Martin there, who's off in the background, driving in that number 71. He's had an absolute horror show of a start to this race. Lightblade though leads ahead of Evan right now, 3 tenths between these two. Raki there in 3rd place, DD 4th, Cinderella Tour, Dujo, Ryan, Will Friedman, Martin and Extra on the top 10. Then Luke Hedgemars, Stones Racing and Tribe Racing at the back. But Lightblade holding on to his pole position crucially at the start there. Brought it home in P2 in a sprint race. He will not want to be to do that again, but he goes ever so wide there on the exit of that corner, and Evan's now going to have a run on him coming up towards the chicane. They're going to be side by side here into the braking zone. Evan's going to have this move done, I think, up into the lead of the race. Here we go. Evan takes the lead here on the first lap. Lightblade with a momentary lapse of concentration loses the lead there. Raki in 3rd, having got the jump on Didi, is in that 3rd place right now. There's Cinderella Tour in the background. That in 5th place. There's Dujo with Ryan Ruby. Will trying to get onto the back of Ryan if he can. Good first lap here from Will, starting from P to 10 in this race. He's already made up 2 places ahead of Exteron and Luke van der Streets. Hedgemars, Tribe Racing, Stones Racing and Martin running at the back of this field at the moment. But out onto the start finish straight here for the first time in this race. The Lightblade leads ahead of Evan, and Raki's still keeping these guys on their toes. Got a big train of cars though, battling it out over 6th place. Dujo, Ryan, Will and Exteron all pretty close to each other. These 4 kind of, or it's 3 now, as they kind of dropped Exteron a little bit. but they're currently running a little way off for the top 5, who seem to be in a bit of a pack here, as now we've got Ryan looking to the inside of Dujo into turn 1, a little bit too far back to make that one work at the moment. Evan no leads ahead of Lightblade, Raki, Didi and Cinderella Tour very much in hot pursuit at the moment though, as they're coming up towards turn 2. Here we go. Is Evan going to be able to defend this from Lightblade? Lightblade had a look to the inside but couldn't get it done, and Evan still holding on to that lead for the time being. Very close race in between these 5 cars here, as Cinderella Tour went a little bit wide there coming through that corner and has lost touch with the top 4 just a little bit coming through that section of the track. Didi having a look to the inside there of Raki on the exit of the hairpin, but Raki still holding on to that 3rd place at the moment, as Dujo Senior's lost it. Dujo's onto the grass a little bit, he's now lost out, he's down to 9th in this race as Exteron squeezes through there, as he's just oh, for God's sake, Exteron there just squeezing through. Hold on. Okay, Exteron's down in 11th now. Right. Oh, God, I hate this timing board. I really can't stand this timing board in this game. It's horrible. Right, so Will's now running in 6th place. He's now 4 seconds clear of Luke. And Ryan Ruby's just suddenly dropped off of the radar completely. To quickly grab a drink, but Evan's still leading ahead of Lightblade right now. Lightblade having a little look to the inside into the hairpin, can't get it done. Looked like he was really eyeing up a move there. Raki's still running in 3rd place just ahead of Didi and Cinderella Tour. Will Friedman now starting to reel these guys in a little bit there, currently running in P6, the championship leader, reigning champion of the Porsche Cup, trying to get some work done here in this race. He started at the back, but he's obviously had to do this one the hard way. Dujo Senior's picked up a drive-through penalty. I'm not sure what that's for. Shooting for track limits, and he's going to have to come in and serve that over the course of this race at some point. But Evan still leads ahead of Lightblade, 8 tenths between these two. Evan, since getting that move done on Lightblade at the end of lap 1, has held that lead. Raki still running just ahead of Didi at the moment. Cinderella Tour, Will is now within a second, 1.7 seconds of Cinderella Tour right now. Luke van der Streets, Tribe Racing and Hegemars still going at it. Hegemars having a little look to the inside of Tribe coming into the chicane. I think that Tribe's going to still take his normal racing line there and hold him off for the time being. Ryan trying to bring himself back onto this pack here. These 3 currently battling it out over 7th. Ryan wants to make that a quartet if he can, and give these guys a little bit of a battle here for 7th spot. Exteron starting to reel these guys in a little bit now as well. They've got 4 seconds back to Stones running in 12th. Dujo serving that drive-through penalty, is in the pits at the moment. Martin with a stop-go penalty, having an absolutely torrid feature race. There's no other word for it at the moment. But Evan leads by 9 tenths of a second ahead of Lightblade coming into turn 1. 6 minutes into the feature race, these two have been pretty much tit for tat out the front. Lightblade's going to want to make sure he doesn't come up second best in a race here in the Porsche Cup again. He'll be looking to try and go one better in this feature race. Raki's still running just ahead of Didi, 7 tenths of a second between those two at the moment. Cinderella Tour running in 5th place, he's 1.6 off at the back of those two, battling it out over the final podium spot. Will Friedman knows really hassling for Cinderella Tour. Cinderella Tour is a bit wide there, coming out of the corner before the hairpin, and that is Will up into 5th place there. So Will Friedman picking up another place. He's got Didi and Cinderella Tour just up the road from him and be looking to get himself onto the podium as soon as he possibly can. Evan still leads ahead of Lightblade as we see Raki and Didi coming through the picture. There is Will. That's how close he is now to those podium spots. Cinderella Tour, since losing that position to Will, now down in P6. Big gap back to this man, Tribe Racing, who's got Luke van der Streets hassling in the back of him here. Edgemars and Ryan Ruby very close on the back as well. And Exteron also joining that train there. That could be a 5-car train here, batting over 7th pretty shortly. Back to the leaders. Evan leads by 6 tenths ahead of Lightblade, Raki and Didi. Well, in fact, Raki's dropped off the back quite a bit off of those guys. Obviously, we saw that a while ago. But Raki there has got Didi, Will and Cinderella Tour pretty close behind him. Cinderella Tour still keeping to the back of this train despite losing the position to Will earlier this lap. He's going to try and follow Will through this pack if he can, I'm sure. Well, Will Friedman has done an absolutely brilliant job throughout the course of this race so far. Started this one from 10th on the grid, and it's already worked its way up into 5th place. Will we try, and I'm sure, to make it another win here at Imola tonight. He took the sprint race earlier on, tends not to qualify for the feature races, does Will. It's a little signature move that he has. He doesn't really do the quali for the features, and right now running in P5, he's already pulled out a second and a half with a gap to Cinderella Tour on this lap since making a move on him, but he's not really reeled in Raki and Didi too much on this lap so far. Evan though leads. He's now got over a second here to Lightblade, so Lightblade's starting to drop off of Evan a little bit. Evan's really flying out the front since taking the lead here. Did a great qualifying, managed to qualify only 2 tenths behind Lightblade in second place for this feature race qualifying session. A massive improvement from his sprint race performance. As we can see, Raki's still holding on ahead of Didi at the moment. These guys 1.3 ahead of Will Friedman, who's still continuing to hunt them in this race. Cinderella Tour dropping off of Will as we go on. At the moment, Luke van der Street's a long way back from these. Still got Tribe, Hegemars, Ryan and Extra on a hot pursuit here as Tribe's looking to the outside here of Luke van der Street's coming up the hill. Is he going to be able to get this move done on him? They're going to be side by side. He's going to have to give him the space here. Hopefully these guys can keep it clean as Luke hugs the inside line and just eases Tribe out a little bit wide, and Tribe nowhere to go. Rides over the rumble strip a little bit, tucks in behind him for the time being. Hegemars, Ryan and Extra very close. Oh, Extra was all over the curb there as they came through that part of the track. Hegemars ever so wide, manages to hold on ahead of Ryan, but Ryan's going to have to run coming up towards the chicane. He's surely not going to be too happy with Hegemars running wide there, but Ryan manages to get the position of Hegemars up into 9th place as Tribe still hasn't been able to get it. Oh, Luke loses it coming to the chicane. Luke's spun off to the side there, and he's now going to be dropping down to 12th place in this race. That promotes Tribe Racing and Hegemars. No, it promotes Tribe Racing and Ryan even up into 8th and 9th. Ryan getting ahead of Hegemars. Hegemars and Extron coming through ahead of Luke van der Street's there, but Luke losing 4 places in one corner. Disaster of a corner there for him as we've got Tribe still running just ahead of Ryan right now. That's Tribe Racing in 7th, Ryan in 8th, then Extron's got ahead of Hegemars into 9th. Hegemars is in 10th, and you got Luke van der Street's in 11th place. So yep, time board is now updated to what I just said. So obviously I do know what's going on. The timing board tries to confuse me, but I do know what's going on. Evan is currently running in the lead of the race, half a second ahead of Lightblade at this point. 5 seconds back to this man Raki, who's still keeping Will Friedman at bay. Will has got ahead of Didi, and Didi's dropped well off. I don't know what happened to Didi there, but he's now down in P6. He's behind Cinderella Tour, so he's really lost out over this last lap here as Didi TKU. Must have made a mistake somewhere, I'm not quite sure where. But Will is still on the back of Raki right now. These two separated by just under a second. Evans gap to Lightblade 3 tenths of a second. So Lightblade continuing to try and put the pressure on him. As that's the back marker there. That's back marker who's lost it somewhere. So Evan and Lightblade still currently showing everybody how it's done. 3 tenths between these two. Lightblade having a little look to the inside, coming down towards the hairpin. Can Lightblade try and really take this fight to Evan here? Obviously Lightblade was on pole position in the qualifying session, but unfortunately for him, jumped on the opening lap by Evan. He made a little mistake coming through Aquamillerale on the first lap, and that gave Evan the lead. Since then Evan has not been in any moves. Oh no, Lightblade just done him. He's literally done him in a black spot. Oh my goodness, Lightblade has just done Evan in a black spot in that last corner. We didn't even get to see it because he literally just overtook him in a black spot. So Lightblade now leads this race ahead of Evan, and Lightblade is your new race leader. The pole sitter now has the lead once again. Evan's still sticking to the back of him, but Lightblade, well, I'd love to say pulled off a great move, but I don't know because we didn't see it. But now Lightblade leads this race ahead of Evan anyway, so that's the story of that little exchange. Raki closed the gap to them a little bit, so I don't know if they had a bit of a to-do, but into the hairpin they come. Lightblade covering that inside line. Evan trying to go for the cutback if he can. Can he get the run coming up the hill? I don't think he's going to be quite close enough up the hill to go for a move into this left-hander. He's going to have a look and try and distract him in the mirrors, but Lightblade's going to be too alert and alive to that one. Raki there in the background of this. For good God's sake, I hate this whole interface. It's horrible. But Raki there running in 3rd place just ahead of Will Friedman, 2 tenths of a second between those two at the moment. Gaps kind of spreading out a little bit aside from these top 4, so you got first and second, Lightblade and Evan battling. You got third and fourth, Raki and Will Friedman giving it everything at the moment. Will obviously started from P10 on the grid. He's looking to try and make hay while the sun shines here. He's looking to try and get himself onto the podium, looking to the outside in towards the chicane. Raki's going to defend that inside line and hold on for the time being, parking his car on the apex on the second part of that corner and doing everything he can do to keep that charging number 8 reigning champion behind him as they're coming down towards the final corner. Will having a look to the outside. Can he get it around him here? No, Raki once again is just going to defend that inside line, and there's no way around for Will Friedman at the moment. Lightblade still leads by 0.4 of a second out the front. He's been holding that lead for quite some time. He's been doing everything he has to do here ahead of Evan since the beginning of this race, and as they're coming over the line to complete their 8th lap of the race, sorry, 7th lap even, it's Evan still leading, having taken that lead on the first lap. He's taken that lead back off of Lightblade on this lap and has done really good job here. Lightblade must have had a momentary lapse of concentration. These two have been swapping positions over the last few laps. It's really been back and forth between these two. Lightblade trying to come back at Evan here in towards turn 2. Is he going to be able to have the means to do so? Not quite just at the moment. But Will looks like he's got ahead of Raki here up into 3rd place. Didn't see that one, but he's definitely up into 3rd. So Raki there, I don't know if he made a mistake or whether Will made the move on him possibly into turn 1 maybe. Don't know if he got a good run into turn 1, but whatever the cause, the outcome is the same. Will Friedman up into 3rd. He's only 6 seconds off of the 2 leaders here, so if Will really gets his skates on and puts in some consistent times, we could be seeing Will bringing himself into this battle, maybe make it a 3-way battle for the lead here, with Evan and Lightblade still going at it out the front. But Evan IRL currently has the ascendancy here in this race. Lightblade did briefly get him back a couple of laps ago, but Evan must have made the move on the previous lap and got himself back into the lead. It's been back and forth between these two. Lightblade qualified on pole, Evan alongside me on the front row, but Evan got the lead on the first lap. It then chopped and changed a couple of times, but right now Evan looks like he's got the measure of Lightblade here as we're 14 minutes into this race, the third of the way into the feature race, for the final race of the evening here for the Porsche Super Cup on ACC here at Motive Racing on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. Drop a like on the video, guys, and show your appreciation for these two out the front, putting on a great show battling for the lead. As Evan there all over the curb there on the exit of the last corner, but keeping it together for the time being, and Lightblade still unable to pounce or capitalise on anything that Evan is doing at this point. Will Friedman in 3rd place, starting to bring the gap down. The gap was 5.3 at the last checkpoint. Let's see what it is now. It's 4.8, so Will gained half a second just through that last sector alone there. Will Friedman, the winner in the sprint race, the championship leader, the reigning champion of the Porsche Cup division here, is really flying there in 3rd place and looking to try and reel these two in whilst they battled it out with each other. He's already put over 2 seconds between himself and Raki since overtaking Raki on the previous lap, so he's really going for it at the moment. Is Will Friedman. Exeron is within a second of Ryan Ruby as well. These two battling it out over 7th and 8th places, but Evan and Lightblade still going at it here on lap 9 of this race and looking like they're not in any mood to stop, to let this peter out at this point. Come down the hill and Lightblade to the outside here of Evan. He's going to try and go all the way around the outside here, coming through the Raccoon Rally, but in the end he's going to have to tuck in behind us. Evan gets a slightly better run, still side by side up the hill. Evan's going to have the inside for the chicane, and Lightblade's going to try and get this around the long way if he can. Into the braking zone they come. Evan's going to once again just fend that one off, and he gets a little bit sideways on the exit of the corner, and Lightblade swoops up the inside up into the lead of the race. Great move there from Lightblade. Evan got a little bit hesitant as he came on the exit of the corner, and look who is closing on these guys in the background. Will Friedman is gaining a hand over fist on these two as they fight it out. Lightblade takes the lead and leads this race by a very fractional margin on that over that checkpoint, but it's now a little bit more than that. But Lightblade, Evan have now got this man here, the champion of the Porsches, very much on their radar here. This is going to be a 3-way battle for the lead very shortly as they're continuing to trip over each other. Will Friedman is only making gains on these two. This is brilliant to watch right here as Lightblade's now got over a second of a gap to Evan. He can see that Will's coming and knows he now needs to pull his finger out and start getting in the lap times and start pulling out that gap. Evan may find himself pretty vulnerable to an attack here from Will pretty shortly. Running in 2nd place, we've got Raki there in the background in 4th place at the moment, dropping off at the base of these front 3. Looks like these 3 guys are going to be the ones in contention for the win tonight, but Lightblade probably knows now that he needs to pull this gap out to Evan and Will. He knows that Evan stands in the way between himself and Will, and he'll be hoping that Evan can keep Will at bay for as long as he can. but Lightblade now needs to absolutely put the hammer down and try and pull out that gap. Evan and Will going at it here for second and third places. Will Friedman now clearly within a second of him. The timing board says it's 1.4, but that's a massive lie, as he's actually quite clearly within a second of him at this point. Raki there running in fourth place. He's now for further 4.5 seconds off of the back of those two battling over second place. Lightblade's already pulled out 2 seconds to Evan since getting that move done. He knows this is his opportunity to really get that cushion between himself and Will in this race. Will's got to be his big rival for the race win here. Will took the first race, the sprint race. Lightblade was matching him for a lot of the race. Will managed to put out the gap in the early stages, but then towards the end Lightblade seemed to be on the pace of him. So Lightblade knows he's got the potential to get the win in this one. He knows that he can really take the fight to Will on his day. He just needs to be able to get, first of all, he's got that track position, so he's got the first thing that he needs. Now he just needs to stay consistent. And he needs to avoid those track limits as well. That was obviously where he's undoing last time out at Paul Ricard, but coming over the line to complete his 10th lap of the race. And Lightblade, your leader, ahead of Evan. 2 seconds the gap between him and Evan, as now Will's looking to the inside here, up towards turn 1. Will Friedman is going to make the move here for second place. Evan's going to try and hold it around the outside, goes very late on the brakes indeed, cuts the inside of the Villeneuve chicane, and I think Will's going to get this move done. Will does swoop around the outside up into second place. Evan there making a little mistake, still running the podium spot though. Great race here from Evan so far, qualified in second place, only 2/10 shy of Lightblade, but a little mistake there has allowed Will Friedman up into second place, and Will Friedman from 10th on the grid here in this feature race now finds himself in second place, and he's only 2 seconds off of the lead. So Lightblade now will be sensing that he's got to absolutely go hell for leather here in the second half of this feature race. This is going to be fascinating here on the Motive Racing channel. Lightblade and Will in a straight fight here, both of them having practice for this track, both of them having experience in these cars. They know what to do, and we're now going to see who is the best out of these two. Lightblade has got a slight head start here, but this is now going to be match on between these two. I can't wait to see how this one goes. Tribe Racing running just ahead of Ryan Ruby at the moment, 7/10 of a second separating these two, as Ryan's still trying to put that pressure on. These two running in the same livery. Obviously they are teammates, and I think they're good friends as well, sat in a party chat together. Exeron a second off of these two in 8th place at the moment. We've got still Will holding second place. He's now 2 seconds behind Lightblade, so he's continuing to keep that gap to Lightblade. Lightblade though, I think now that he can see that Will's behind him, he's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. And to be fair to Evan, he's keeping to the back of Will since losing that position to him. Will got ahead of him at the beginning of the last lap, but Evan's sticking to the task very resolutely here. He's not giving up by any stretch of the imagination. Will did gain 3/10 on Lightblade on that last lap, but these three looking pretty evenly matched still at this stage in the race. Will Friedman obviously was on a bit of a charge in the first part of the race, but Evan, I think now that he's gone eye to eye with Will, it's kind of just sort of awoken the beast inside of him and really forced him to start putting in the laps here, because he's still with him. But he goes a mistake there coming out of turn 1, which has dropped him off on the back of Will ever so slightly. He's now 1.4 behind him, so Evan there just getting a little bit out of shape. Will have dropped him off a bit. He's got to now regroup and go again, but the gap between Lightblade and Will, 1.7 seconds. Evan's clinging on for dear life here as we see a back marker getting a little bit out of shape in the background there. I think that was Luke there getting out of shape. It was, as he's got Raki looking to his outside there. Raki running in 4th place, 5 seconds off of the 3 leaders, putting a lap there on Luke without too much of an issue. Lightblade though has a lead of 1.5 to Will. Will gain another 2/10 of a second coming through that first sector there. Will Friedman is a man on a mission here in this feature race. Took the win in the sprint race, started this one from P10. Lightblade's led since getting the move done on Evan about 3-4 laps ago. He obviously did get pole position, but Evan got ahead of him at the end of the first lap. Lightblade has now surely got to start thinking defensively, because Will is clearly quicker at this point in the race. Maybe now it's going to be about parking his car in the right places and about being wily, being sensible about where he puts his car, what he does with it. It's going to be all about getting traction out of these corners now. Traction out of the slower corners onto the straights is going to be pivotal to Lightblade keeping this lead. Will Friedman on a charge is going to be doing everything he possibly can to try and take 2 from 2 tonight here at Imola. Down the start finish straight they come to complete their 12th lap of the race. 6/10 of a second between these two, coming up towards turn 1. This could go either way at this point between these two. It really is wide open in this race. Tribe, Ryan and Exeron still running 3 in a line at the moment, as it looked like Ryan got a little bit of a shaky exit out of the last corner. What is Tribe doing? Tribe looked like he just got a little bit all over the place there, and that's allowed Ryan Exron, excuse me, up into 6th and 7th. Tribe there having an absolute nightmare there. Ryan's got Exron looking to his inside into turn 1. He's not close enough at the moment to get that move done. It's as you were between those two, both getting ahead of Tribe though. Tribe losing out 2 places coming out of the last corner. Lightblade still leads by 0.6 of a second to Will Friedman. Lightblade looks like he's really picked it up since Will appeared on his bumper over this last lap or so. Lightblade's now starting to put that pedal down and really put on a show here out the front of the field. Currently 0.8 of a second between these two at the moment. They're gapping Evan by quite a bit. Evan's 2.5 seconds behind them in 3rd place at this point. Raki a further 6 seconds off of these. He's dropping off the pace by quite a bit now, but this is looking like a very, very close and cagey race between these two, Lightblade and Will Friedman, as they're coming down the hill for the 13th time here in this race. 17 minutes left to go in this feature race. Ryan's still running ahead of Exron. Tribe's dropped off for the back of these two a little bit now. Exron still trying to get up onto that P6 if he can. Up to towards the chicane they come. Exron having a little look to the inside, but still not close enough to get the move done on Ryan. Up into 6th. Ryan goes straight on over the chicane though. Really does take liberties there, but Exron does the same. Really rattles over that sausage curb, and now this is going to present an opportunity for Tribe Racing to try and get him here. Can Tribe try and get it around the outside as Exron covers that inside line? Down the hill they come towards the hairpin. He reverts back to the normal racing line there, which is a little bit cheeky, obviously changing position in the braking zone, but he holds on to the position there. No, he goes wide, and Tribe's up into 7th place. Tribe there gets himself the position as Exron went a little bit wide through the hairpin. They're still going to be side by side though, as Exron did get a decent exit out onto the start finish straight, and now Exron's going to get the position back as it's a straight drag strip over the line. Exron back up into P7 there. These two dropping off at the back of Ryan as we speak, as they battle it out in towards turn 1. Exron holds on to the place there ahead of Tribe Racing. Lightblade still holding on to this lead ahead of Will Friedman. 2/10 between these two. Evans gained a little bit over the course of this lap, 2 seconds behind them in 3rd place, but Lightblade is doing everything he possibly can at this point in this race as we're coming towards the final part of this feature race now. Lightblade qualified on pole position for this one, finished in 2nd in the sprint race, followed Will home for that one, matched his pace towards the end of the race. These two very evenly matched in these Porsche Cup cars, but over this lap so far it looks like Lightblade started to pull out the gap a little bit to him. 0.4 of a second between these two at the moment. Evan a further 1.7 back in 3rd place. Raki 8.5 seconds off. He's continuing to fall off the back of these three absolutely putting the laps down brilliantly here tonight here at Imola. They're in a class of their own in these Porsche Cup cars tonight here at Motive. Our Lightblade, Will and Evan putting on a great show out the front. Exron running in 7th places. We see there he cuts to the inside of the corner a little bit. Tribe still on the back of him here. These guys rattling over 7th and 8th places. Ryan running in the foreground there in 6th, keeping the gap reasonably comfortable to these two at this point. Lightblade down the start finish straight has got Will all over him here. 0.3 between them as they come over the line. Still a little bit too far back, I think, is Will to get this move done into turn 1. He's going to have to think about that one again, but Lightblade goes a little bit deep into the first corner. He needs to not do that again. If he does that again, that might be another track limits warning there for him. Lightblade needs to be careful with these track limits. Up towards turn 2 they come, and he still holds on for that lead at the moment, but Will is coming for him like an absolute train at the moment, and Evan there running in 3rd place, just over a second off of these two. These three guys are absolutely inseparable at the moment out the front. Lightblade still has the lead, but by the skin of his teeth, as Will is absolutely coming for him at this point in the race, and Lightblade's going to have a hell of a task to keep these two behind him for the rest of this race, that is for sure. Ryan running it in 6th. He's still ahead of Tribe. Tribe has gapped Exron. Exron must have made a mistake on that last lap there, because he's now 6 seconds behind Tribe in 8th place, so that battle's kind of just fizzled out a little bit. Really the only battle out on track now is between these three, Lightblade, Will and Evan. These three going at it still here on lap 15 of the race here for the feature race at Imola on Motive Racing's Porsche Super Cup here on ACC. Number 71's been disqualified. That's Martin there, who's out of the race. He was a long way behind. I don't know if he was going the wrong way down the track maybe. Luke is in the pits as well. He's not going anywhere fast. He's definitely done for this session. He's definitely not coming out of that box, or if he does then he won't be able to finish classified. Lightblade very wide out of the last corner. Should be okay to hold on though down the start finish straight. Will's looking to the outside though. might be alongside here actually. They're going to be side by side all the way down the start finish here. Lightblade's going to try and squeeze Will, but Will's got the inside and he's slightly ahead here coming up towards turn 1. Lightblade's going to try and hold it around the outside here, side by side up towards turn 1. Evan trying to get involved in this action as well. What's going to happen as we come onto the brakes? Will takes the lead of the race, just about squeezed ahead of Lightblade there. Lightblade's still there though, still running right on his bumper as they're coming up towards turn 2 now. Will, Lightblade, Evan, these three. Evan trying to get the move done and Lightblade looking to the inside. Lightblade trying to come back at Will, so close, bumper to bumper action as Will rattles over that curb and goes in a bit wide there, and Lightblade takes the lead back off of him again. Lightblade back up into P1 as Will got a little bit out of shape there. Evan was all over the back of them but couldn't get ahead of Will like Lightblade did. Will, after taking that lead, rattled over that second curb coming through that second chicane bit, and he's now got that P2. He's now back in P2 once again. Lightblade manages to take the lead. It's been going back and forth between these drivers tonight. Great action here on the Motive Racing channel between these three. Evans now dropped off and he's got a little bit there. Looked like he made a little mistake there coming through that previous corner. Lightblade and Will, 0.6 of a second between those two, but you don't know who's going to take it at this point. It's a lottery, literally a 50-50 between these two at this point. This one could go either way. I really wouldn't want to hazard a guess as to who's going to win this race at this point. It's completely up in the air at the moment, but at the moment Lightblade has that lead. He's got that ascendancy back off of Will, as Will is still on the back of him here coming down towards the hairpin. But great action between these two. Will Friedman, as I said before, reigning champion of the Porsche Cup. He's also the championship leader. He's had many wins over the course of this season. Lightblade racing as a reserve tonight, but he was a bit more prepared for tonight than he was last week. Last week at Paul Ricard, he jumped in very last minute, and this time he's had time to prepare. He's had time to know that he's racing tonight and really get himself the best setup, get himself some practice in the server. We promised that he would have a spot for tonight. I knew there'd be a little bit of space for him to get involved, and he is currently rising to the occasion here. He's clearly done the work and he knows what he's doing around this Imola circuit, that is for sure. Will still on the back of him, 2/10 between these two at the moment. Just over 10 minutes to go here in this feature race, and this one is absolutely anyone's between these two. Evan looks like he's dropping off the pace a little bit there in third place, now 2.8 seconds behind, but it's going to be between these two for the win, I reckon, as Ryan running in 6th place. He's 7/10 behind Cinderella Tour at the moment. Cinderella Tour has been running in P5 for a little while, but he's now got Ryan very much for company here. These two are a little way off of Raki, who's running in 4th. They're not going to be able to catch him up in this race. This is very much the summit of these two's ambitions here in this race. Lightblade still leads ahead of Will though at the front, 3/10 between those two as they're coming through the middle sector of this lap. 10 minutes to go here in the feature race, into the final quarter for the final race of the evening. Lightblade has led this one since getting ahead of Evan about midway through the race. He made the move. Oh, as he gets a bit of a shaky run though, Will's going to get the cut back coming out of the chicane there. He's going to surely be side by side with him down towards the hairpin, side by side all the way down the hill. Here they come. Lightblade's going to have to give the space to it on the inside, right over the curb a little bit, trying to keep himself alongside. But Will, has he gone deep into the corner? I think Will might have that move done. No, he's gone deep. He has gone deep into the corner. Lightblade back up the inside there, up into P1. What great racing between these guys. Lightblade was so wide coming into the final hairpin. He was literally just hugging the curb on the right hand side. If he had been inches more to the right hand side, he would have tagged the grass and he would have been sideways into the wall, but somehow managed to give Will a space on the inside. Will went a little bit too deep, took a bit too much coming into the entry of the corner, went a little bit wide. Lightblade perfectly executed the cutback. Great driving from Lightblade out the front. Will Friedman also, hats off to both of these boys for not taking each other out in that situation. That would have been extremely difficult for both of them in that moment, as they're now coming up on some traffic here that looks to be is that Stones there getting out of the way for them. It is Stones, as it flashed the light there from both of the front two as they make their way through. Lightblade still just ahead of Will Friedman right now. 4/10 is the gap between them as they're coming up the hill, as Evan is 1.5 off, but Evan has picked up a drive-through penalty for track limits, so he'll have to come in and serve that before the end of the race. I would imagine he might just come out ahead of Ryan in 5th, but it'll be close. He might come out in 4th place, we'll see. But here come Lightblade and Will down towards the chicane once again. Lightblade once again taking the defensive line. Will look it to the outside, trying to get it around the long way. Can't do it. This is where Lightblade made a big mistake on the previous lap. Gets a little bit wide this time as well, and it's going to be round 2 maybe. No, I don't think it is. I think he's just about got the legs here, and Will doesn't quite get the cutback coming down the hill. I thought for a second that Will might have a chance there, but Lightblade doing what he needs to do. Went a little bit wide into that corner, but keeps it. Oh no, Will's going to get him on the exit here, is he? I thought Lightblade had a bit of a deep exit into the corner, but he gets the wider line out of the final corner. Lightblade definitely got a better run onto the straight than Will did, and he's going to hold on to that lead for the time being. Will tucked back in for that slipstream here, coming over the line to complete their 18th lap of the race, up towards turn 1 once again. Will looking to the inside. Is they going to be side by side? I don't think they are. Lightblade should be able to take that corner. As they come onto the brakes there, Lightblade a little bit deep into the entry of the corner. He's going to have the inside for turn 2. Can he restrict the space on the inside there for Will? He does, and holds onto that lead. That was very close from Lightblade there. Such a close call between those two. A tenth between them coming through that previous checkpoint, but Lightblade still holding on to this lead at the moment. Evans into the pits to serve that drive-through penalty. 2 tenths between these two, Lightblade and Will at the moment. Will having looks everywhere, trying to find the space to get himself up into that lead, but it's still no opportunities are presenting themselves at this point. Great battle between these two. What a show they're putting on. This has got to be the race of the season so far here on the Motive channel here in the Porsche Super Cup. Always throws up some surprises and some interesting action, does the Porsche Cup, but nothing quite like this. These two have been trading left, right and centre, lap after lap. It's been going back and forth here, there and everywhere. But at the moment, Lightblade does still have the lead. Will has been on the back of him for many, many laps now, and these two so evenly matched. Lightblade had Evan for company in the first part of the race and was having a good battle with him. But then as soon as he saw Will coming, he was like, right, I've got to pick it up now. I've got to really push and go for it if I'm going to take this one. And Lightblade has duly delivered on his promise. He always comes in promising that he's going to put on a show and give us an exciting stream to watch, and boy has he done that. He's currently got 4 tenths back to Will at the moment, and this time around coming through that corner doesn't give us any little scares or shocks. He's keeping it clean as they're coming out onto the start finish straight here for the 19th time here in this race. Cinderella Tours within 2 seconds of Ryan Ruby. Ryan Ruby's up into 4th place, completely neglected that one as we were watching the lead battle, but Ryan is up into 4th place and continuing his solid fight back here in this feature race. Cinderella Tours got 4 seconds back to Tribe. Exteron is within a second of Tribe racing at the moment, so those two continue to run pretty close for 6th and 7th places. Evan has filtered out in 8th after his drive-through penalty, and the rest are kind of just spread out at the moment. But this is the battle for the lead. 2 tenths between Lightblade and Will, with what I think is going to be 4 laps left, including this one here in this race. Could be wrong, but I believe this is the 4th. I believe we're 3.5 laps from the end of this feature race, and this is looking like it's going to be one of these two. Very likely going to be one of these two, but which one, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. It's impossible to call at this stage. I really wouldn't want to hazard a guess as to who is going to win this one. But yeah, this is going to be absolutely brilliant to see who's going to take this one. Got a few comments here in the stream. I've really neglected the comment section tonight. Apologies for that, guys. But Scuderia Paul saying, evening all, good luck everybody, come on Raki. Pete Bibb says good luck to everybody. Taco Cat saying that's a strange like to dislike ratio, to be honest. Yeah, it is, mate. I think I know who the 2 dislikers are as well, but I believe it's the same person. But currently Lightblade and Will 4 tenths apart, coming in towards the hairpin. One little tip: when you get to know somebody, don't let them get to know you too well, because then they'll know everything about you, and they'll always know when it's you doing stuff. But Lightblade and Will currently 4 tenths separate them, coming out onto the start finish straight for what is now their 20th time here in the race, and they've got 3 laps left to go here in this one. This is going to go down to the wire between these two, we know that for sure, but Lightblade has done a brilliant defensive job over the course of these last few laps. Will's been trying to find our way around him if he can, but just hasn't been able to. Bumper to bumper once again, coming up towards the second chicane, but Lightblade doing everything he has to do, and Will Friedman now is going to surely be wondering what has he got to do to take this win. What has he got left in the tank to try and put Lightblade off, try and destabilise him a little bit. He knows now he's not going to be able to pressure Lightblade into a mistake. Lightblade has held firm for lap after lap after lap, Will's just got to maybe send one down the inside or do something that Lightblade doesn't expect, and hope that it sticks, that it pays off in some way. Lightblade obviously was battling with Evan earlier on, and because of that, I think he wasn't really showing his real pace. And as soon as we saw Will pulling up onto the back of him, I think we've seen the true pace of Lightblade, and he's clearly a match for Will in these Porsche Cup cars. We know that. We could see that in the sprint race, to be fair, because towards the end of the race, Lightblade was keeping the gap to Will. He was bringing it down at certain points. It was just the first part where Will managed to pull out that gap, and Lightblade found himself in an unassailable position where he couldn't bring it back. But in this race, he's been running at the front pretty much since the beginning. As soon as he saw Will on his radar, he started to pick up the pace a little bit, and since he's had him on his back, they have been absolutely nip and tuck, really. But they're coming out onto the start finish straight now. 2 laps left to go, penultimate lap of the race here for the Porsche Cup, round 6, race 12, feature race here at Imola on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on Assetto Corsa Competizione, in towards turn 1 once again. Still running pretty much nothing between those bumpers at the moment. I don't know what the situation is with the track limits warnings. I would assume that they might have picked up a couple along the way, so it all depends now on how much they want to take risks, or how cautious these two are going to be. Are they on their final warnings? Have they maybe not had many warnings? They've only had one warning, say for example, they might be more willing to push the limits and try and gain an advantage if they can with the track limits. Obviously you can do if you haven't had too many warnings, but if you're in a final warning, then it's you're certainly running the risk. But up the hill they come now, and Will still looking all over the back of Lightblade parking his car in the middle of the track, which is an interesting one. He's not going full defensive, but he's kind of just trying to dissuade Will from thinking about making the move if he can. He's definitely trying to make Will think twice about any decisions that he might make here out the front, as we see a back marker there in the foreground. That's DD Didi's had a horror show of a race here in this feature race. This really hasn't gone to plan at all for him, as Lightblade goes a little bit deep into the first part of the chicane, and Will gets the cut back there. Will's going to get him on the cut back, and Will's up into the lead of the race. Will Friedman, has he got it done? They're still side by side down the hill. Lightblade got a better run out of the corner in the end, because Will had to take a tighter line on the inside when he got that cut back, and down the hill they come into the final hairpin. Is Lightblade still on the outside? They're still side by side coming through the final part of this lap here. They're about to start the final lap of the race. Lightblade holding it around the outside and holds onto the lead just about there by the skin of his teeth, but Will Friedman absolutely all over him coming over the start finish line. Up towards the line they come here to complete the penultimate lap onto the final lap. And Lightblade having to defend to the inside line up towards turn 1. Is Will going to try and get it around the long way here as they come onto the brakes? No, he's not. Lightblade goes incredibly deep into the first corner though. He goes extremely deep and cuts the inside of the corner. He must have had a couple of track limits warnings left still to go, because he completely cut the inside of that corner but got away with it scot-free. So he must have clearly been pretty good over the course of this race and not ran the limits too much. But Lightblade very lucky there, because he absolutely missed out the second part of that chicane there as he went deep into the first part, and Will Friedman's probably stamping his feet and saying, come on, that's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, if he hasn't picked up the warnings throughout this race, then he's not going to get a penalty just yet. So Lightblade living dangerously here. He would have definitely got a warning for that. He needs to keep it clean throughout the rest of his lap. I don't know what his situation is with track limits warnings, but in towards the final half a lap, Will within 2/10 of him. Racky's started to close in on these guys as they've been battling out the last few laps. He's now within 10 seconds of the two leaders in that final podium spot. Ryan has got a second back to Cinderella Tour. Cinderella Tour starting to come back at Ryan a little bit. Tribe and Exteron still battling it out, 4/10 between these two. But back to the leaders here as they're coming in towards the final sector. Lightblade here has the lead by a slender margin out of the exit of the final chicane and down the hill for the final time here in this race. What a race it's been from these two. Lightblade has to just keep it cool in towards these final two left-handers. Come here, Lightblade keeping it together, keeping it cool, out onto the start finish straight for the final time. What a battle between these two, what a show they put on. Lightblade and Will flashing the lights to each other. Lightblade's going to take the win in the feature race. What a drive. Will Friedman, hats off to him, took the fight to him all the way. And from 10th on the grid, you've really got to you've really got to congratulate Will for what a great drive he put on there. Raki comes over to take a 3rd place here in this race. That final podium spot goes to him. Ryan Ruby is going to finish this race in 4th as he's coming out of the final hairpin here. It's just ahead of Cinderella Tour, but Cinderella Tour isn't going to get there in time. Ryan Ruby is going to hold on for 4th place here, and it's going to be a good result for Ryan. A solid finish for him. Some good points in the bag for his championship points. Cinderella Tour follows him over in 5th place. Tribe Racing coming up towards the line. It's going to be a 6th place finish here for Tribe. He's 1.7 ahead of Exeron here as he comes up towards the line. Tribe Racing in P6, Exeron in 7th. Evan IRL is going to come over the line. It's going to be an 8th place finish here for Evan. Really gutting there for him, to be fair, because he was up there at the start but picked up that drive through which dropped him down the field like a stone. Stones Racing, that was totally unintentional there. Stones Racing finishes in 10th. DD finishes in 9th, so looked like DD in the end got ahead of Stones in the classification. Stones 10th, Dujo 11th, obviously retired from the race, a couple of laps from the... Oh no, he was 2 laps down. But Luke Van der Street's retired 13 laps from the end, completed 10 laps of the race. Hedgemars retired very early on, and Martin didn't really complete much of the race, disqualified from the race about midway through. But what a race there from Lightblade and Will Freeman. They put on a fantastic show out the front. Absolute credits to the Motive Racing Leagues here are those two. Really can't congratulate them enough for what they did tonight. Really enjoyed that one, guys. Be sure to drop a like on the video and show your appreciation for those two and the show that they put on. Join us again on Wednesday night. We'll be live for the GT4 Championship from 7 PM BST, that's British Summertime. Still on British Summertime for the time being. We will be moving to GMT in about 3 weeks time, I think it is. Usually the end of October the clocks go back, so yeah, that'll be coming up soon. But for the time being we are still on BST. If you can check online anyway, if you type in on Google UK time, you'll be able to find out what the time differences are. But yeah, we'll be live at 7 PM BST on Wednesday night for the GT4s, guys. Tune in for that. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great evening, and yeah, peace.
And I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. So we can fly again. Sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. So we can fly again. So we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me